Morning. Oh man, I'll tell ya. I'm gonna talk about bows, but first of all, this is my portion to say, oh, poor me. Oh my goodness. Let's connect all sorts of things together here. First of all, have you ever worked in the tourism business with visitors? Retail. You get what I mean. Try to keep people from causing damage, you try to keep people from getting injured. You manage employees, and believe me, there's many times where you have employees where you just like and get fresh ones in, which is a problem. Million parts maintaining a facility, but it's the funniest thing, really, and it's strange. I can have the busiest day here, things flowing nicely because I've been at it for a while. And you get people, oh my goodness, and I get where they're coming from. Do you live in that house? Oh, you're so lucky. You know, how can I get your job when you retire? And you know what? 99.9% of the people that think that just living in a nature preserve is all about just living in a nature preserve, they have no clue. They wouldn't make it a month just from the endurance. Picture this, dealing with the public. You're basically the one responsible for maintaining a trail system, a public beach, boundaries on the public beach, making sure that people that get anaphylactic shock don't get stung by wasps, by absolutely looking at every single inch of boardwalk on a regular basis and getting stung when you remove those wasp nests. Waking up and looking forward to a day that lasts all day long, 7 days a week, for months on end. With maybe on a rainy day or something like that, you can take a half day off. But man, I am already tired, and I still have till November 14th before I close the gates every single damn day. You know, I'm getting too old for this. 62, and yeah, working from morning till night till I close the gates every single day for months until November 15th. It gets tiring. My wife worked a partial day yesterday, 16,000 steps. I probably beat her by 4 times that many, at least, along with putting out. Anyway, let's talk about bows. I'm just poor me. Joe, dollars to donuts, your bow is fine that you sent me. I should have contacted you by now, but again, like, there's a million moving parts here, and there's no way to get off this Ferris wheel or this treadmill. It's in Traverse City. 2-day priority shipping doesn't always mean 2 days. And when you get into selling bows and shipping bows, you'll find that out. Once I sent a bow to Canada during the Canadian mail strike, and it took 6 months for that bow to get there. And I know the fear too. The last thing was I sent a cashier's check to GM Financial to pay off my car. It was overnight shipping, and it took a week. Talk about like a frightened me, but it finally got there. Things, they arrive when they arrive, and usually in pretty good shape. And so, yeah, I'll give you a call or text you or email you. I don't know. I'm just so freaking tired. But let's talk about bows. Okay, so I've got, it's really hard to see. I'm going to pick the best edge. And I'm working down slowly. I remark sand and remark my lines multiple times. And there's a reason why I'm really paying attention to working down the lines on this bow, opposed to one that was made from like a natural stave where the back was the back of the tree, and I'm going to have consistent growth ring patterns on the belly. But let's talk about that first, actually. And I've got on my gatekeeper reports, keep track of numbers of people, cars, license plates, and stuff like that. But the bottom one represents the belly of a normal bow. You don't always need to mark the sides for the thickness. You can just approach it like a topographic map. Just looking at the belly of like a normally made bow. This one isn't, because I'm not going to get that growth ring pattern. But where it, like a topo map, it's steeper where the lines are closer together, and it's less steep when they space out. And so you can really, if it's an even stave, I don't even need to put it on a tillering stick or a tillering tree. If it's an even stave with no weirdness to the growth rings, you can literally count from the handle 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, within this distance on both sides of the handle. Then you just kind of spread it out a little bit. And then near the tip, you might just want to have, this is the last growth ring change, and then it's just bare. You know, it comes with experience, of course, but never discount the ability to see if a bow is even, provided that the width is even, you know, symmetrical. Just the growth rings. You know, you floor tillered or whatever, you've got this nice pattern going. Maybe you reduce a few growth rings, go through another layer or two. And that's a handy tip. And you can control the bend within the bow, just the growth rings. Now, it doesn't work out with a bias ring board bow. It certainly doesn't work out when you've got all sorts of spastic little growth ring patterns like in this backwards bow, but yeah. Now, the upper one represents an exaggerated, where I've got this line and this line is reference points. They're different than what I had in the last video. And the lesson here is, you can put that down. I marked it, I just kind of, by eyeball, I want to go this far. And so I did the same for this reference line. And I want to spread it out a little bit more, because I want to have a certain bend pattern. And then near the tip, you know, I put it here. I just kind of even Stevened it. You don't have to be that precise, especially because it will be tillered on a string. I'm just shooting for kind of close. Now, the distance is boink and then boink right here. And then you can see the lines that I have on there. These reference lines are right here. And then I scribed my Scribe-O-Matic along here. And on this one, this line is going to meet at the belly. And then this line is going to meet at the belly. And then this line is going to meet at the belly. Because this is exaggerated, you can't see how I actually worked along the line and then had an even angle down to this one. It's just by eye. I don't need to explain it that much further. If you're not actually making bows and seeing how this works and you're marking bows, it's not as clear. But what was I going to say about that? Yeah, where the Scribe-O-Matic really works is if you've got exaggerated bends, and it'll flow along them and stuff like that, whatever. Not going to get further into that. But at this point, you know, I do have a bend. I'm not going to push it because, again, this backwards bow with knots and weird breaks in the flow in the back, I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to fully tiller it without the sinew on the back. But at this point in my career, I can, you know, kind of get a general idea of when I want to stop working this and then go ahead and sinew back it. But I have a lot more to do. This is one thing about when you mark the face, do it precisely, but don't get it right to where you want it, because whenever you sand these lines off and then remark them and then you sand them off, you're reducing the width. Now, again, there's so many exceptions to this thing. Doesn't matter. If I was to knock 1/8 of an inch off of this, it's still going to be a good bow. If I knocked 3/16 of an inch off of it, you know, or even more, it'll still be a good bow. I'm going for a lighter bow, so it can be much narrower than this. What I want is just a consistent width through this parallel part. I think of myself as a cheerleader. Just make that bow. Just sinew back. Just find nettles or plant nettles and make a string. You know, in this case, I would be happy if somebody watching this video that never started a bow picked up a piece of wood and a knife or a hatchet and started making a bow. I've done my job if I get one person to step out of their comfort zone and try something new. In this case, try a backwards bow. Try sinew backing. Make yourself a scribe-o-matic. And now, I mentioned that I could drill a hole through this thing and then make a channel through this and have a bolt through there. And how I made this a little sure grippy, because when I pinch it, it's not going to. And whenever you're marking with one of these things, keep it pinched so it's not going to move on you. I took let me take this thing off here. I got tricky. And it's all about experimenting and doing things on your own. See that? Blow that off. Just a thin strip of, I think that might be in the 300s or 400s sandpaper. I just rubber cemented it on there so I get grip. When I'm pinching it, it's not gonna slide on you. That's what happened the last time I marked the lines, the last time we talked, is that it slipped, and so my lines weren't consistent, and that sandpaper made all the difference in the world. Maybe you don't want to have something that you pinch. You want to have it sure. Well, you know, a bolt and a wing nut. But I'm good with this thing. What else can I mention? I am going to start it on one of these sides with my rasp. And it's probably hard to see, but when I'm working down on the belly, I have an angle here. And so there is a ridge, if you can see it like this, and I'm currently going to work this down flat to see exactly where I am, because with this thing, the ridge there, it's stiffer than it actually is, if that makes sense. Once I flatten that off and get it down to that true thickness, it's going to be a little more limber. Now on this, it's going to be crowned, and so I'm going to get a good decent bend in it. I'm going to then sight down it, because never discount the ability of your eye to see a difference. I could have the most accurate lines here. I could work them down right to the way I want them, but I still might have, you know, a difference in thickness. And that's where your eye comes in, is because you can detect such minute differences with your eye, even though you have it marked. Erase those lines, and then you can see the difference, and then you just work it down where it's thicker. It happens naturally when you've got it on a tillering tree or a tillering stick, and you can see the different bends. But after a while, I've gotten so as I can see the taper just by sighting down it. I've always been amazed that before I did this, and it was always strictly on a tillering stick, you know, I just got this piece of wood and I'm bending it and I see this and that, stiff spots, and then I change them again, practiced eye. It's always amazed me how you develop this beautiful taper from tillering. I don't know, it's just one of those odd things. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna first get it so it's got a good bend. Then I'm gonna round it. Checking the tillering. I'm actually tillering it now from the back, being gentle. I'm not gonna again get a full bend because its back is so, it's the wrongest way to make a bow possible. I mean, I'm violating every rule of bow making on this bow because the back is so knotty and cut through fibers and stuff, but again, sinew. But I'm gonna finish the tillering when I'm rounding it. It's going to do a couple things. First of all, it's going to improve the performance of this bow, having a crown back, sinew, making it strong. It's also going to lessen the possibility of the weird fibers cut through on the sides, because when I round it, most of the forces are going to be in the center, and I'm taking away the forces from the edges. And so it's not going to be as susceptible to side fiber damage, again, because I'm not following I'm following the fibers through the snake, but you know, this thing has swirly grain all through it, and that's one reason why crowning is good, improving the bow and also reducing the bad forces on the edges. Right now, as a rectangle, the forces are even from edge to edge, but as I round it, it's going to concentrate the forces in the center, lessen them in the sides, lessen the chance that the side fibers are going to like buckle. But yeah, that's all. I'm not going to do a second take. I appreciate that this is squirrely, but trust me, I'm running on guts at this point. I'm so tired, and I'm looking at another day, followed by another day, followed by, I don't know, what, 150 more straight days of work. Working with the public, working with employees, making sure everything is like beautiful and well maintained. And listening one too many times to people say, I want your job. You get to live in that house? No, I sleep in the house and I live in this parking lot. Oh, poor me. I know. Shut up, John. I get it. But I'm not that easily offended. Have a good one. Thank you for watching. And if you have not made a bow yet, or tried to make a bow, or tried to sinew back, or made a natural string, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Go team.